Missing Persons, Spring Session M. Now, there's no denying that this is an album that's 80s adjacent. This is about as 80s you can get. This is Missing Persons debut album, has some very classic 80s songs on it. And the fascinating thing about Missing Persons has always been to me that this is really almost entirely Frank Zappa alumni. You know, Dale Bozzio, who did some vocals for Frank Zappa here and there, Warren Cucurullo, who's a guitar player that played with Zappa, and of course, Terry Bozzio, who's one of my favorite drummers of all time. And so for me, listening to this album is as much about listening to these players play in that style, in that era, that sort of new wave genre that emerged in the early to mid 80s. And what I will say about this album, man, is that it's full of really, really great small details. I like the Clarence Clarity, but this one really, you can tell that Terry Bozzio had a big hand in writing these songs because there's all these really interesting little rhythmic features that show up, little stabs and little ways in which the guitars line up with other parts of the melody that really reveal a lot of deeper musical concepts, especially on the side of the drums. And the odd thing about it too is that Terry Bozzio is a very busy and active drummer, but here you see him trying to emulate in his own way a drum machine by playing very straight. You'll find places as you dig a little bit deeper where Terry Bozzio shows off his chops and shows off his musicianly side, but it's interesting to see him put himself in that box to see what he can do. And also, Warren Cucurullo's, he really, I think, has a chance to shine with the Missing Persons. His melodic approach and his sort of distinctive guitar sound here is, I think, really crucial to the sound of the Missing Persons overall, and does earn him a spot, I think, very clearly whenever he became Duran Duran's guitar player a decade later. He earned his credibility in that new wave style at this point with the Missing Persons, and that really justifies his inclusion, I think, in Duran Duran later on in their career. Now, the real thing about Spring Session M is that it's got really, really, really great high points. The best songs in this album are really fantastic. But like a lot of 80s albums, it did put a lot of weight on those singles. So you hear the songs that are great and they really stick out and they're amazing. And then you have some songs that just don't ever quite get off the ground. Despite the fact that the playing is still fantastic, even if you don't think the songwriting is great, you can't deny that the musicianship that's going on underneath those songs still is amazing, and you could see how they had this connection back to Frank Zappa. And of course, there's Dale Bozzio. Man, back when I was in middle school, Dale Bozzio had my eyes for sure. Just what an amazing presence. So now you see people these days with radical hair color, but she was doing it way, way back then. But again, let's be real about it. She wasn't the most fantastic vocalist. She was as much a stylist as anyone else. So again, she has this kind of really unique chirping style that kind of falls back to, new wave and kind of has its place with Blondie, but she kind of took it a different place.